How's it going, people? Welcome back. Busy boy tonight. I am just got off the Race for Europe show. If you haven't done that already, go see it, man. Oh my God, Tobes and Lawless were at it yet again, big time. And to be fair, when Tobes had to shoot off Dan United and Lawless, right? Lawless, bless him, is going to end up on this show if West Ham carry on. My God, West Ham. I mean, it's a sorry sight right now. Although if you talk to him, he wouldn't be having it. He'd be saying that West Ham he still thinks West Ham are going to finish 6th ahead of Man United. It is unbelievable. Honestly, I tell you, I need to. Do you know what? I need to get.
I was thinking, can someone be worse than Maz? And we got Lawless. West Ham can finish 6th. I don't know what's worse. Maz saying that Brighton can finish 4th or West Ham can finish 6th. Oh, that's up there.
I tell you, man, it's been a mad show over there. I tell you that. I need some time to calm down. I love this show because I don't have to talk Arsenal. I can sit and just relax and talk to you lovely people about your fantastic clubs, or in some cases not so fantastic, Ash. But we'll get to that, man. We'll get to that. Listen, we're not going to start with Leicester. We're going to start on a bit of a positive. Emilio is going to be happy with this one. I want to talk about Fulham to start with. I am so impressed. So impressed. Like, it was between them and Brentford for me for the surprise package, but I'm giving it to Fulham, man. Every time I see them play, they're doing well. And I think we've been a bit harsh on this show and other shows that I've been on, to be fair, about Fulham, because we've always been talking about Mitrovic. And it's not even just him that's playing well now. I'm seeing some very, very good players at Fulham at the moment. Even Willian, man, played well the other day. I mean, crikey, what's happening there? So I liked that toss-in. I think what I'm seeing from Willian, of course, I mentioned. I think that Polinia looks wicked in the middle. Harrison Reed has been really good. Obviously, Mitrovic gets a mention, and rightly so. But they're playing some really, really good stuff at the moment. And, I'll start with you, Emilio, because I feel personally like maybe people haven't been so kind about this Fulham side over the years. I mean, Mr. Dorr was on here slating you, saying you're going to be in a relegation fight. And, he's looking up at the moment, Mr. Dorr. Yeah. So, what's your thoughts, Emilio?
Look, it's a very promising start to the season. 7 games in, we are playing good football. We haven't been battered in any game, maybe Tottenham exception. For about 50, 60 minutes, they dominated and took a 2-goal lead. But other than that, we've been in all the games. We've competed in all the games. We've given teams a hard fight. We haven't been battered. We haven't been bruised. We're scoring goals. Slight criticism. We're conceding goals. We always knew that. I think we always knew there's going to be a liability defense. But this team has got gold in it. It's not like you said. It's not just Mitrovic. Mitrovic has got his fair few, but he wasn't involved in any of the goals on Friday night directly. And we scored 3 against Dave, your team. So there's goals in this team. We're creating chances. We're playing good football. We're difficult to beat. I think that's the key thing. We're difficult to beat. We know when to close a game out like we did on Friday night, comfortably, but we still knew rather than go and press for a 4th or get another goal, why stretch yourself? Play safe, keep ball, keep possession. To be honest, 11 points, more than I expected this time at the start of the season. October's a big month. There's 4 key games, 2 of which are home against Villa and Bournemouth. You'd expect to be picking up some points from those games. It's hopefully looking up. I'm disappointed I wasn't invited to your earlier show, fighting for the European places. But all seriousness, I just think we're doing more than what Fulham fans expect, and I think I'm happy with that so far. Top 6, realistically, if we finish 17th, I'll be happy with that. But we're giving a good old fight and account for ourselves, and teams won't like coming to Craven Cottage. Hopefully, we're starting to make that a bit of a fortress, making it difficult to play there, and obviously. We can start picking up points on the road as well. Then this is it's been a good season. But we have to retain Premier League survival. That's the priority, and so far so good. So I'm really really happy with the balance of the team, the camaraderie, the team spirit, the belief, the confidence. How many more adjectives can I talk about? So very good start. But in all seriousness, it's only 7 games in, so a lot can change positively or negatively. So I'm going to say a little bit grounded as well.
Listen, Dave, it was a tough game for you guys, and. I see Steve Cooper on the sidelines just sort of rolling his eyes, shaking his head, thinking, what's happened here? But I think Fulham deserve credit. I thought they were really good. And I don't think it was Nottingham Forest being shockingly bad. I think it was Fulham being good that won them the game. So, what was your thoughts, bro?
Exactly that, Dan. I kind of thought of Emilio during the game, actually, from my seat in the Trent end, thinking that after our quite promising start, he would have really enjoyed watching Fulham. They took control of midfield, really. I think it was mentioned on this show or another show, Mr. Dawes, where he had Alan Druitt, who's another Fulham fan, on about Palhinha being a snip, and I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was the best player on the field. All I would say, Dan, is that Fulham nicked the Saliba song for Palhinha.
Oh, what?
So I had a bit of a giggle at that. But what you got on Friday night it was a really good game of football, actually. But what you had a team that was happy in its own skin, together, settled. You know, the odd one or two added in, and they played some lovely football. They were always the better team, certainly from about the first 15 minutes onwards. And you know, Fulham looked like they'd been together a while, and we looked exactly like all of you lads would imagine us to look. Hello, what's your name? How long have you been here? When did you come into the building? What bus over Trent Bridge did you catch? And all this kind of stuff. But what I would say, so I have to give a lot of credit to Fulham, and everything Emilio said about the way Fulham are playing already this season rings true. A lot of my mates, very realistic, not the hysterical nonsense people who say that Cooper should go, we're down already, this, that, and the other. We're saying, well, that was a team that knew what it was doing and played some great stuff, and you know, a lot of credit to Fulham. With us, what I would say is where I was kind of angry after the Bournemouth game, which we had in the palm of our hand at 2-0 up and let go, I wasn't so distressed, if you like, about this. I thought there were some good things for us. I thought that what did worry me, when it went to 3-1 after that sort of 6-minute blast, in which Fulham were utterly irresistible and would have given for that 6 minutes, they would have given anybody on the planet a run for their money. They were just inspired. I kind of thought, oh, goodness me, is this going to go 4, 5, 6? But Forest actually, okay, Fulham managed to get the end of the game out nicely, but Forest did come back, and that was mainly down to Lewis O'Brien. He came off the bench and he gave us some real impetus. He scored to make it 3-2, and the little fella just buzzed about. Now, that's a lad learning, you know, going from the Championship to the Premier League. So there was things to like in his performance. Worrell came on and did okay. There was one. These people are saying that, you know, Joe Worrell is slow. They might like to see his foot race against Daniel James towards the end, where he managed to make a tackle. And Daniel James is a speedy customer, let me tell you. So there were pockets of good things for Forest. It was very much a settled project against a work in progress, and Fulham deserved the points. Of that, there's no doubt. But I kind of saw some crumbs of comfort for Forest where there had been no crumbs of comfort from the Bournemouth game.
Listen, I think go on, D.
I think, sorry, Dan, to cut you off, but I think when talking about Fulham, people talk about how well they're doing, but Emilio, you should know best out of anyone here, but you have to give credit to Marco Silva as well. We talk about, for example, Mitrovic and how he's been decent this season. We've seen Mitrovic in the Premier League before, but the problem with Mitrovic in the past is that we haven't seen him play to his strengths. Whereas where I think Marco Silva is getting the best out of this squad, it might sound a bit cliche or too simple, but he knows how to play with the squad. He knows the strengths, he knows the weaknesses, and maybe in the Championship, Fulham had a bit more possession. Maybe they've sacrificed a bit more of that this season to be a bit more compact defensively and suit to the Premier League with this team they've got. And we're talking about Dan, we're talking about Willian. We're talking about Willian, which we've seen at other clubs, at top clubs, and he has struggled along the way because of age. But now he's at Fulham, and he's still able to do it. And it goes down to the manager, because it's not just him. There's so many other players that you've seen in the previous reign or at different clubs that haven't performed this well. And I've seen it with other clubs that are a different manager. A manager is extremely important, of course. And I think he's getting the best out of these players. And the question, of course, is, can he continue that throughout the season? I think he can. I'll be honest. I wouldn't say I've been a doubt of Marco Silva, but we've been linked with him previously. And what he's done at some other jobs, for example, at Everton, wasn't that convincing. And I've been put off by him. But right now, I can hold my hands up and say, you know what? He's doing a fantastic job with these group of players, because not every manager could come in And they haven't had the easiest starts for them, or not the hardest. But in every single game, from the first game against Liverpool, where they were unlucky to pick up points from that, they've been fantastic. They've been in every single game. So you have to give credit to him, the manager. That doesn't get spoken about as much as the likes of some players like Mitrovic, for example. That's what everyone talks about when it comes to Fulham.
No.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Friday night, I think what has to be the key stat to come out of that game was that Fulham had something in the region of 65 to 70% of possession. And it felt like it while I was sat there watching the game. So, as you say, Marco Silva, with not much expectation, I think he's exceeded the expectation. He's got them up, and now he's got them there. He's worked out the eternal conundrum of how to get Alexander Mitrovic to score in the Premier League. And as I said last week, I think Fulham will stay up now, and I think Fulham could be a nice, solid mid-table side, actually.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I think that's fair, and I think you've done the right thing there, Dean, in talking about the manager. And I think sometimes that don't get spoken about enough. All I say on the Willian thing is hold fire, because when he played Fulham for Arsenal, he got 3 assists, and I never see him again. So let's just hold fire, because this guy, trust me, he can be frustrating as hell. But listen, I've got nothing against Willian, to be fair, but it just didn't work out at all at Arsenal. Maz, let's come to you on Fulham, because a surprise package. A lot of people have talked about Brighton as well. We're going to see what happens after that, now that Potter's no longer there, which we'll come into in a minute. But when I look at Fulham and, what they're doing, I think they deserve a lot of credit, man. I've been really impressed, mate. What about yourself?
No, 100%. I agree with D in the whole Marco Silva thing as well. I still am. I'm a big doubter of Marco Silva, just like with his spells at Everton and Hull. I didn't really rate him at all. So yeah, credit where credit's due, just to echo what D said on that point. But yeah, no, Fulham looked really good. They were tipped to be relegated. They were tipped to go straight down with, they always get banded with Norwich, don't they? As the two teams just bounce up and down. So they're doing very well to dispel that sort of myth of being the ones just to keep yo-yoing up and down the leagues. But no, I really like the way they're playing. They seem to have a good system. They haven't added too many players, which I think, as Dave said, I think this was Nottingham Forest's downfall in terms of not having that togetherness and having that team camaraderie that obviously Fulham have at the moment. So yeah, and then also to echo what Emilio said, it's a long way to go still. So same with Brighton. We're looking good at the moment, but there's still a long way to go, and anything can happen in the Premier League. It's a very tough league. So yeah, they're doing very well at the moment, but let's see if their squad, their squad size and the depth and quality. That's my only concern is off the bench. That starting 11's great, like with the players we've mentioned, but do they have the squad depth to keep this up? Is my big concern for them.
Yeah, Ash, it's as if Leicester and Fulham have swapped places, bro. I mean, Fulham are looking like they're doing good, and Leicester obviously struggling, which we'll come to in a minute. But I think when you look at what Fulham have done, I kind of respect it a lot more, because this is what I think's happened. With Nottingham Forest, they've just gone panic. Let's go and buy everyone so that we can stay in this league. We haven't been here for so long. We need to go and get players. Fulham did that under, I can't remember the name of your old manager, Emilio, before Scott Parker. But there we go, Kanovic. They did it with him, and they spent loads of money. They went straight back down. And I fear that, my surprise package of the season was Forest before a ball was kicked. I thought they were going to come and do brilliant things, and that could still happen. I still think, it's not all over for Nottingham Forest. But with Fulham, where I respect it is I think they've done well with their recruitment, and I think they've just brought in what was needed. I spoke to Emilio throughout the transfer market, and it was a little bit like, yeah, we're still struggling defensively. We still need it here or there. And then we started to see players coming in. Leno come in. Obviously, the Willian signing. We saw other players come in the midfield, Polina being one of them. And I think what they've done is they've just bought the right amount of players to give them a real chance. And I've been so impressed with everything from the way it's been run, recruitment-wise, the manager and the players.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think ultimately, sorry, Jazz, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, go on, Emilio.
No, I was going to say, I echo everything you said there, Dan. And I think the key thing, it's staying grounded. But again, we've reinforced in key areas. I think we've got enough cover in all the positions. I think that's a key thing. So it's, I agree with Matt. So, so we've had a few injuries, and it's have we got enough quality on that bench? And I think we've got a lot of fringe players, championship players who, like Cabano, for example, are probably not good enough to start you week in, week out. But he's a bench player and can, come in with his pace and maybe upset a few defenses in the last 20 minutes. Dan James is not a regular starter. Hasn't impressed so far in a few appearances he's made as a sub, but I think he will grow into the team and play with the ethics Marco Silva wants to play. So everyone's getting a bit of game time. William, I think I expressed concern when we signed him 2 or 3 weeks ago for the same reasons you mentioned, Dan. And he's a selfish player, maybe not a team player, but so far, one and a bit games, he's done okay. To be honest, he did well on Friday night, got an assist. He's come in for 1 season. That's all we can expect of him. If he can do enough to keep us up, then his transfer fee was free transfer and wages will be more than paid if we can stay up. So that's very sensible, prudent signing there. I'm not his biggest fan, but surely he can do the job in some of these key games against the teams around us. That's the key thing. We're competing in games and we're picking up points against the likes of Forest, Brighton, Brentford. These are games where traditionally we might have lost 2 years ago. Now we've won all 3 of those and competing in the other games. So yeah, if we keep it up and just get 1 win in 3, that will keep us up. So I'm not aiming high. I'm aiming realistically, and I think keep up the good work, guys. But yeah, got a week and a half's break now. We've got a few injuries to come back. Players come back from injuries, and there's a lot to look forward to. But I'm just mindful things can turn very quickly. 2 wins, you're back up there. 2 defeats, you're back down the other way. So it's let's stay realistic and grounded.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fair. And Ash, you're kind of looking up at the moment at Fulham, and I never thought you'd say that 7 games in, bro, but it's true. They've been impressive, haven't they?
They've been fantastic. I think there's just a good chemistry in the club. Obviously, the manager's doing a great job. Look like they've got a good group, good team ethics. They're playing some great football. They were very impressive against Forest. Like you said earlier, I don't think it's a case of that Forest were bad. Fulham were just great. And that's the long and short of it. And they look lively against whoever they're coming up against at the minute. And I'm certainly not looking forward to playing them this season. Not at all.
To be fair, who are you looking forward to playing?
Yeah.
No one.
Exactly.
Field next year.
Maybe we'll talk about Leicester later on. But yeah. I don't think you lot were that bad, especially in the first half. If you ignore the set pieces, you weren't awful against Tottenham. I know the scoreline shows elsewise, and in the second half you didn't start that great, but maybe you got a bit of hope there. But I don't know. It's looking a bit bleak. But I was going to quickly ask Dave a question. What Dan said, and there has been this narrative going around, and I want to get Dave's thoughts on this. Dave, do you think Nottingham Forest overspent or got too many players? Because I think you've said this in the past as well. It sounds crazy. They're signed like 21, 23, I don't know how many players exactly they've signed, but you also got rid of a lot of players as well. So with this narrative about Nottingham Forest bringing in a lot of players, do you think that is correct? Or is there more context in that? Because I've heard like 2 sides of the story. So I was wondering, what's your perspective on that?
I think, lads, there's more nuance to it than has been afforded by certain sections of the media. So the Richard Keyses, the Simon Jordans and that, they just see numbers. They just see numbers of people coming in. And no disrespect to Emilio and what Jukanovic did and what Fulham did that season they had when they did it. The doing a Fulham label was attached to Forest, but when we were talking about the numbers, I was sitting here thinking I need to add the caveat that it isn't like Fulham, and Forest lost Garner, Zinkernagel, Lowe, Spence in particular, and there was Keenan Davis. We lost those 5 who were instrumental in getting us up. They were never our players. Then Lewis Grabban comes to the end of his contract. Tobias Figueiredo. There are a bunch of lads at the end of contracts. And then the harsh reality is that Steve Cooper and Alan Tate and Andy Reid and Jamie Robinson and the recruitment team looked at what was left. And frankly, it wasn't good enough. So what I would say to you lads is if you hear this business of, you see the memes going around of a quadruple decker bus, the Forest team coach and all this, and they're very funny. But to answer your question, D, I would say that they are a little bit wide of the mark and they're a little bit lazy in not doing their research about what's gone on. Every time you will have seen Steve ask this question in his pressers and his post-matches, and basically where Forest is starting from is an unavoidable situation. Had we gone to we've lost 4 on the bounce. And Fulham, City, Tottenham and Bournemouth have all been better than us. But they are starting from a far, far more stable platform than we are. What you have to remember is we finished our season on May the 29th. Fulham had been up for 6 weeks by then. Bournemouth had been up for a fortnight or whatever, 3 weeks by then, where we rushed into the Premier League from the bottom exactly a year ago to the day we were bottom of the Championship. What we've done for me to even be on a podcast with you 5 lads talking about the Premier League is frankly astonishing. And I've said it before, and I'm gonna big my club up. I don't do it that often because I don't want to be too partisan. But we've come further, faster than any football club, certainly in this country. So there was always going to be a deceleration, and there was always going to be an overturn of players, an attrition. And where the patient people around my club are, to me, the wise ones, they all know that it's going to take time. And Darren Fletcher, the BT football commentator, is a Forest fan and a very sensible man. He said on a podcast, a Forest podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I really agreed with him. He said that you might not see the real Nottingham Forest until after the World Cup. It's going to take Steve that long. Add to that 2 of the signings who probably made a really good impact. That's Oral Mangala in midfield, the Belgian lad, and Moussa Niakhaté, the French guy at the back, who probably looked at our best 2 signings, have both got injured. So Forest are finding their way. You know what I mean? And I did say on Friday night, I didn't think we'd get relegated. That was a bit gung-ho. But you know what? And you lads will all know this, and I'll say this to Ash in particular. Yeah. You know, bad form is as temporary as good form. And teams playing well now, and this is where Emilio's right to keep his feet on the ground. Forgive me if this sounds like a lecture. Those teams playing well now may not be playing well in a few weeks, and Forest are playing poorly.
No, I think he's talking to Dan. I think.
Oh, okay.
He's talking to Dan. I think top of the league.
You can pick this up as well.
He was that a bit longer of an answer than you wanted, mate. I'm sorry.
No. It's just Dave. It's me and Maz been talking about Brighton. You know how you talked about teams playing good. They could be playing bad in a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks time. I've been telling Maz about this ages, but he hasn't been listening to this. Hopefully he's listening to me about it as well.
All right, we need to change D Palace to D Brighton. I think he talks more about Brighton than he does Palace. I think.
No, I'm just shaking if you're listening. All right, cool.
BHAFC obsessed. I think we need to change your.
Oh man, you two crack me on, man. I can't wait for this chat in a minute. I can't wait for this chat in a minute.
Sorry, I'm very sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to go on.
Can I just summarise? Yeah, we've signed a lot, but it was an absolute necessity. That is the answer.
So just lastly on this Forest and Fulham thing, Emilio, I want to come to you just lastly. Do you feel personally, Emilio, like Forest are doing what Fulham did and it's like, don't go down that road? Or do you see this as different? Because obviously Dave said it's a necessity. Do you see any similarities there? Or do you think that Steve Cooper, and the board know what they're doing?
Obviously, you bought a lot more players than we've done. That's for sure. Even going back 4 years ago, I think we bought a lot of some expensive players. Yeah, and unfortunately, it didn't. Anguissa and Jean-Michel Seri cost 45-50 million alone for 2 players. So they've obviously Anguissa's gone on to better things, playing for my Italian club Napoli and doing a bloody outstanding job there. To be honest, it's Fulham's loss that he's gone there.
Typical,
yeah. Napoli's gain, and Seri, didn't quite live up to expectations. I know Arsenal were linked with him that summer that we were trying, or the season before that we bought it, but. That was 50 million for 2 players. So I think, yes, we spent a lot of money, but we still retained some of those championship players as fringe players, and they probably didn't get enough of a look in. And just the balance of the team wasn't right. That was the problem 4 years ago. We had 3 managers in a season. Balance of the team wasn't right. Took a while to find the winning formula, but every manager coming in had a different philosophy, different strategy. So how can you get any continuity? I think Forest is a lot different. You've literally got a brand new squad. And any manager would struggle. Put Jurgen Klopp to manage those 25 players, he would struggle to find his best starting 11. I think the only thing Cooper probably needs to do is start to play a little bit more conservatively. I think he's playing a very offensive play, and I think he's being found out that strategy with a team that you haven't got confidence in yet because they're all brand new. They're all barely got time to settle down, and you're still trying to play the same philosophy. No one knows your tactics yet, so. Nico Williams, we were linked with him, but £18 million. We've got Paulinho for the same price. No comparison. So we made some shrewd acquisitions. We negotiated hard the transfer market, but I think Cooper, to save his job, he needs to start changing tactics and give you a chance.
Actually, that's a good point, Emilio. That's a good point. Actually, Friday night, he went from the tried and trusted 3, which had been our bedrock in getting up, and he went to a 4. And when he went to a 4 at the back, I think it was Worrell, McKenna, Nico and Loddy, and then Lewis O'Brien come on. We looked
more organised.
You're dead right. Forest have been naively far too open. And there's a lot of talk that when we go to this cup final on October the 3rd on that Monday night, just down the road, that we might. I said that we should play 10 holding midfielders and Dean Henderson that night. So whether that happens or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah, man. I'm with Amelia. I think I would keep things the way they are at Forest. I don't think it's a disaster where they are at the moment. I think Cooper's a class act. I really do. I really like Cooper. You know,
give him time.
And I think they will. I think they will. I think you will. I think you're going to stick with it and see what happens and get to the World Cup and let's see where everyone else is at. This is what's the good thing about doing this show is things change. I've got to come to Leicester next, and I want to focus on some other couple of things before we wrap up. Ash, I'm going to let you have the say, man. I watched the game with my brother-in-law, and of course I wanted you to win. Got very excited when that absolute bozo gave you a penalty, who I can't stand. I think he's so rubbish. That Sanchez is awful footballer. I call him the Colombian Mustafi, man. He's that bad, right? I can't stand him. Yeah, I think he's such a bozo, and I was loving it when. I was loving it even more that Tielemans missed. It was so funny to have to take it again and score. It's just an absolute beautiful thing to happen in football. And I thought James Maddison was outstanding, mate. Again, by the way, what a player. Can I just say, what an unbelievable player. How that buffoon in the waistcoat doesn't pick him for England is beyond me. Absolutely beyond me, right? So I thought to myself, Leicester are in this, you know. Leicester are properly in this. But you cannot defend set pieces, my friend. I don't understand what is going on. How long has it been now? You need a new set piece coach. Fire the one you've got. Bring in another one and get Rodgers to work with them day and night about it because it's absolutely shocking, man. But listen, the scoreline was a little bit hot, like friendly on Spurs, but you still lost again, man. And those set pieces are driving me crazy, man.
They are me. Well, the funny thing is, Dan, the set piece coach has been in a week. He is new.
Oh, right. Okay. My bad. Sack him already.
And there was like a thing going on Twitter saying that not a good start, really, is it, for him? Bless him. Because that's probably the worst we've been on set pieces. I know we were bad last season as well, but that absolutely took the biscuit the other night. First off, we were in the game. In fact, you could. Massively. I might be being a bit blue tinted glasses here, but I thought we might have been the better team slightly, even in the first half. Like you say, Maddison were fantastic. I've got a lot of promise for the new centre back as well. I thought he looked lively and well faced. The guy that's coming to replace Fofana. I thought he was good as well. But we've got Wardy in goal. I'm sorry, he's not a goalkeeper. He's not a goalkeeper. I'm sorry, he's not. And if Rodgers is on all this money and can't see that, then he does need to go because Everson can't be any worse than that. Everson can't be any worse than what we're playing at the minute.
He looks dreadful, Ash.
He does. Like, honest to God, like I saw him against Forest in the FA Cup last year because we gave him a chance then, and he was awful then. So I don't know what he's done other than having the one good Euros for Wales that time that they got quite far in it. But what's he done since then to prove that he should be Leicester's new number one? I mean, I know at the minute we're struggling in terms of finances and things like that, which is one of the reasons apparently Rodgers hasn't been sacked today. There was rumours that they were going to be waiting till after sort of the royal funeral and everything, but it didn't happen. Now the noise is that they're going to give him the Forest game to try and get 3 points. But to be honest with you, I can't see it working. I think he needs to go now. I think Rodgers needs to go. I think we need to try Everson in goal. But other than that and set pieces, I thought we looked really lively in the first half. Attacking wise, I do think we look good this season. That's the thing that's frustrating about Leicester this season. I think we look promising up top, but that set piece problem has got to be sorted. It's absolutely ridiculous, and the goalkeeper situation too.
Ash, do you not have Alex Smithies at the club still?
Smithies?
Yeah, Alex Smithies.
I don't think we do.
Nah,
no.
he's at Cardiff or somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he came back from loan, didn't he?
Did they sign him for free in the summer, didn't they?
Maybe. I'm pretty sure
they signed him for free in the summer.
I mean, I'd whack him in goal. I know he's more sort of championship level, to be honest. But like you said, he can't be any worse than Ward at the moment. So honestly, if you've got Smithies, just whack him in.
Ash,
yeah.
Why did Kasper Schmeichel go without any fanfare? I mean, I struggle to understand that.
Yeah.
To Nice. I mean, what's he gone there for? The sun and the sand or what? Because I can't get my head around that, mate.
No, neither can I. I just think if I'm being honest, I think the walls were crumbling down last season at Leicester City, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes because they've hired and fired so many new staff. Like they've got a new medical staff in because of all the injuries we had last season. The lady that's at the top, Sue Whelan, is meant to be a massive admirer of Rodgers, and which is why he's getting his way with everything and all the signings and stuff. But we've got to be honest, it's not worked out with him in the last year or so. It's really not. The FA Cup was fantastic and something I'll never forget. But we can't. I know it's only probably 3-4 games of us picking up results, but we can't carry on because we're not going to get the results. We're playing the way we are. We're absolutely not. Like we was up against. First game of the season up against Brentford, let that slip, drew. We lost to Southampton at the King Power Stadium. Fair enough. Okay, we've played Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man United outside of that. So we've played 4 of the big teams, but still, I don't think a point's good enough from the fixtures that we've played, especially not the goal difference we're on.
Yeah, it's been poor and it's been hard to watch, to be fair, because I quite like Leicester. I always had a bit of a soft spot for them, and I think they're a really well-run club. But I look at things at the moment and think something's gone wrong with the lack of transfer activity, with all the players looking to leave. You either got to freshen it up and accept that players are good and they're going to want to move on when things are not so great at Leicester, or you've got to try to convince them that there's a project and a plan moving forward. And I can't really see either of that happening at the moment. Tielemans, obviously rumours that he's going to go in the summer for nothing. James Maddison definitely won't stay there if things carry on. He's way too good to be fighting relegation. That player is so. I'd love that player at Arsenal. I wanted him before we signed Erdegaard. Absolutely love him. I think he's absolutely quality. But D, I'll come to you on this one, man, because you mentioned Leicester earlier, and like, if Rodgers does go, because I think it's inevitable. I think it will happen at some point because it doesn't look like it's getting any better. If a new manager comes in there, have they got that bad of a side? Because I don't think they have a shocking side, Leicester.
Their squad's good. Their squad's good. That's what I
agree. I think they've got a decent enough squad to stay up. Like, all right, cool. They've had a very bad start, and the worrying thing is 11 goals conceded in the last 2 games. That is kind of shocking in itself, especially for a Premier League side. The new manager will have a lot to do, but he's also got players to work with. Like, we're talking about Tielemans that didn't leave. We're talking about Maddison that's still there. Dewsbury Hall on his day could be good. You know, they've still got quality in that. Yeah, like they've got quality in that.
Harvey Barnes.
That you need to get the best out of. Just like we're talking about with Fulham in terms of the manager getting the best out of them players. That I don't think Fulham have got brilliant squad, like top 6 squad so far to be 6th. Of course, that will change, but it's about getting the best out of the players that you've got. Yeah. And if a new manager comes in and manages to get Maddison and all of them clicking together, because right now it seems like 1 or 2 players might be working, but the rest of the squad ain't working. But if it clicks all of them together, I think Leicester's still got a decent enough squad. Maybe not this season because of how they started. Maybe to go mid-table and stay up and then rebuild in the long run, because I feel like that squad in itself, as I said it last week as well, it's toxic. It just feels toxic. There's players there that doesn't want to be at Leicester. They see themselves at bigger club, the likes of maybe Tielemans and even maybe Maddison. They have this expectation that they can do better at a bigger level. So you might have to get rid of them, which is not a bad thing because you could generate a good amount of money, but you need someone to rebuild with. Now, the manager that you bring in, we talked about this before, if it's the likes of Sean Dyche and get rid of Maddison and Tielemans and he has all that money, I don't see Dyche making exciting signings for the future. But if you go with another manager that could be more expansive, he might not keep you up, but then you know, you might get a better signing. So I think Leicester in a difficult position. But if Rodgers does go, and if they do start, maybe if Dyche agrees for a 1-year contract, and then you see from there, then it might be the best option. But right now, they're in a sticky position where if they sign one manager like Dash, I don't think the transfer is going to be exciting for the future, but he might keep them up. But if you sign another manager, I don't know who offers better in terms of staying up in the league than Sean Dash.
Yeah,
and it's all a bit confusing. But I guess if the pieces are there, the pieces are there for Leicester's success. They just have to puzzle it together, and just try to build for the future. Because I feel like that squad needs a reset. The expectations being high for a very long time. You got quality players. It's not working. Start again. Start from the goalkeeper all the way up front. Even Jamie Vardy. We talk about how great he is, but he's getting old. He's not going to be able to do this forever. So I feel like there needs to be a rebuild there. And Leicester fans need to be patient because we say rebuild too easily and it takes a while. We've seen it with Arsenal, for example. Like Arsenal are kicking on right now, but with Arteta, it has taken them years. And we're talking about a big club like Arsenal. Leicester, it will take them a few years, even if a rebuild does happen. So it's about patience, but they can stay up 100%. The squad they've got is quality. But
I think you made a point
in the past as well, though. That quality just doesn't keep you up. The manager has to also work as well, because it's never you're too good enough to not get relegated. We've seen it. Good teams have been relegated in the past, so it's up to them, really.
I think it's like you said, it's all about freshening things up. I think the writing was on the wall last season, Ash, with Brendan Rodgers. I thought he came to a natural end point. I think he took the club as far as he could. You've gone from Champions League to Europa League to no European football. So again, you've declined quite steadily year on year. That to me suggests the club needs a bit of fresh impetus, maybe a bit of fresh blood, new direction. I think he probably didn't walk away because he was clearly on a good cash sum here if he was to be sacked. So clearly, I think he's taken the club as far as he could. Now this season is making him a little bit more exposed. And clearly, other clubs are going to think twice about hiring Brendan Rodgers because clearly, he's letting his own profile worsen just because he's just literally not getting the results. I read a statistic. I think Leicester, the team that's conceded the most goals after just 7 league games in a Premier League season, which is a worry to me. But I agree with Dee. There's enough quality there that you're going to get a turn for the better at some point in the season. Probably not with Rodgers. You probably need someone with fresh blood, different direction, get these players to believe in themselves because confidence is rock bottom. And that's not just the players' fault. It's probably the manager's issues here, board issues, ownership, debt, all that good stuff. That has an impact on confidence and performances. But you're not a bad team overnight. So I think, I think it will be. It will probably go at some point. But my point is sometimes a club needs to freshen up and a manager needs to know when he's taking the club as far as he can. And I think that's where you've got to.
Yeah, 100. I agree with that, man. And before I come back to Ash, Maz, a lot of rumours of Thomas Frank I saw yesterday going to Leicester. Bit of a strange one, but would he be interested in that job from Brentford to Leicester for you? And would that be a good appointment?
I think it'd be stupid to leave Brentford now, especially the way he's playing. And I think he's a fantastic manager as well. Because I know he's linked with the Brighton job as well. So yeah, it'd be a bit of a strange. I feel like a backward step. Maybe not in club stature. I'd say obviously Leicester are a much bigger club than Brentford, but I feel like right here, right now, he'd be crazy to leave. But yeah, there's no doubting he'd be a great manager. I think for Leicester, it'd be a good appointment. Plays great football, gets the best out of players, and yeah, I feel like he's doing a very good job at Brentford. But they'd be silly to let him go, and I don't think they don't need to. They're in no position to have to be forced their hand to let him go.
Yeah, that's fair. Ash, would you be happy with Thomas Frank? I bet you would.
Yeah, I'd take him. Why not? He, like Maz says, gets good football out of his players generally. He's done a great job at Brentford. There's a few names flying around. Obviously, Dyche is one that's not going away. Frank is one. And BBC have reported today that we're actually even sniffing around the Celtic manager again.
Manager.
Yeah, so I don't think they'd be very happy if we pinched 2 managers off them in the space of 5 years. But yeah, so there's a few names in the hat. The Leicester Mercury, our local paper, there was a story today saying that Rafa's been in touch with Leicester City about the job. So
would you take Benitez?
Yeah.
Would you take him, Benitez?
Yeah, I'd take him. I think this sounds really bad, Dan, but at the minute, I think I'd take a punt on any of those 5 names we've just said, just to try and freshen it up. Just to freshen it up.
Do you know what though? Do you know what? I think. Sorry, Maz, just quick.
That's
I don't
right.
think Rafa Benitez is nowhere near as bad as what people made out. Like Everton, it was never going to happen for him. He should never have gone there. I don't know why he did. I really rate him. I think he's a quality manager. Everywhere he's been, he's done well. His CV speaks for itself. If you got Rafa Benitez, I don't think that would be a shocking appointment whatsoever. A lot of people will say, "Oh, you know, Rafa Benitez, he was shocking at Everton. He's washed up. He's done. Isn't he not the same at Liverpool, Valencia, Real Madrid?" I would take Rafa Benitez if I was a Leicester fan. 100%, I would.
Yeah, he done a great job at Newcastle, didn't he? Like,
absolutely.
Nothing.
This might sound mad. This might sound mad, but I'll probably take right now. If I'm Leicester, if I'm talking about a rebuild, I'd rather take Thomas Frank over Rafa Benitez.
Really?
I'm taking that. But I get what Maz is saying about Thomas Frank. Why would he be crazy to leave Brentford? But there's going to come a point where when you look at Brentford as a football club, how much can they offer Thomas Frank as well in terms of what's going to be his capacity? I feel like right now it might be a crazy thing to do. It might be risky, but for Thomas Frank's like future, it could be worthwhile. If he goes to Leicester and they actually, this is the big if they give him the money, and maybe if Thomas Frank is happy to get rid of the likes of Tielemans and, you know, maybe get a bit of money there to reinvest, which I don't think he'll really get that opportunity with Brentford. Thomas Frank could grow Leicester back to where they should be at. And for me, I don't think Leicester are guaranteed top 6 side. I mean, they've had some good years, but I feel like Leicester should be pushing for top 8. They should be there and abouts as a football club at all times. And I feel like Thomas Frank, with the resources, because right now Brentford are doing a brilliant job without splashing big amount of money. They've had good recruitment, but if Thomas Frank can bring that recruitment team, which we've seen, I think with Brighton, Maz, I think the manager brought in the backroom staff from his other clubs, both of his clubs, over Italy and in Ukraine. So if you give Thomas Frank the resources to bring over his team from Brentford in terms of the backroom staff, the recruitment team, and you give him time, I feel like that would work better in the long run than Rafa Benitez. I get what you're saying about Rafa Benitez not being bad manager, but there comes a time where with the older managers, we're seeing it now with David Moyes as well, they do often get found out. I don't know if Rafa Benitez can keep them up. I just don't know. I think Thomas Frank is a better shout due to what he's done with Brentford so far. And I'll give him.
I don't know, man. I think. Do you know what, D? Right? Do you know what, D? I would have more faith in Rafa Benitez picking this team up than I would Thomas Frank, because Rafa Benitez has picked up teams like this before. I don't think Thomas Frank has. Thomas Frank hasn't had the experience before. Rafa Benitez had to get this Newcastle side from the Championship back into the Premier League and then keep them up, and he did it. Thomas Frank, I don't know that he would have done that. And I'm saying that because I don't know, because he's never done it before. Rafa has. And I think if I was a Leicester fan, I would probably rather us go with a Rafa Benitez who's been there, done it, and won stuff as a CV, that Thomas Frank's CV, which says, I got Brentford up once in the Premier League. And I'm not taking it away from Thomas Frank. I think he's a wicked manager, by the way. But I just feel that what Leicester need is a manager with experience to get this team playing. And I think Rafa has that more than Thomas Frank personally. But I understand if you want to rebuild on a project, then I think Thomas Frank is probably the option, because he's probably got the longevity to be there. Rafa doesn't really stay at clubs for a long period of time anymore. But what I will say is I think that if you wanted someone to get a Leicester out of trouble, I probably have more faith in Rafa.
But do you think, look at what Rafa done at Everton. Was that great in itself? Everton are in trouble. And I think if Rafa Benitez stayed, if Rafa stayed at Everton right now, they'll be relegated. That's what it was looking like. That's why they had to sack him, and I feel like they sacked him too late. I don't know if he's still got the sauce. I'll be honest. I don't know if Rafa Benitez is still the guy right now.
I think at Everton, Rafa Benitez tried to rebuild the bridge that he burnt years before when he was at Liverpool, and he referred to them as a small club. And the Everton fans didn't forget that. So when he got there was a lot of hostility already, and I don't think he was able to overcome it. Certainly not on the field. Now, if Everton had gone on a run, then all of that talk would have passed into myth and folklore. As it was, the team was so poor that which the Everton fans remembered from those years ago, they used to. So he was on a loser. All I would say about Leicester, looking in, what would worry me about Leicester, and it's great that these names have been attached with Leicester City, and Leicester are, thinking about what to do. But this sudden cropping up of talk about FFP would worry me. It's just seemed to. I heard it mentioned at the weekend. If that was being said about Nottingham Forest, I'd be worried. and the FFP might be something off-putting to any new manager coming in. So, I mean, I'm thinking the 70 million for Wesley Fofana, where is that at the moment? Is it getting used?
This is
and that is a worry.
It's
Go
a
on,
big
Ash.
problem. I mean, at the minute, no one really knows what the club's ambitions are because, like I said last week, we've got this beautiful big new training ground, one of the best in Europe now. We're expanding the stadium, but we can't do that if we're in the Championship, and they've already paid for this to be done. So I think they need to be addressing issues on the pitch more than worrying about the business side of it at the minute of making the ground bigger and everything, because the years when Leicester were in League One and stuff, you could buy tickets for £1. So I don't mean it in a bad way, but the fan base does drop off when Leicester City seem to be doing not so well. It's not like teams like Newcastle where they'll fill that stadium regardless. If Leicester are not doing very well, we won't fill the stadium, and that's a worry for me. So they need to sort things very fast this season.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Listen, I've left this to last for a reason. Maz, you have a new manager. I'll just ask you outright. Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm sort of I'm in two minds about it. Obviously, I miss Potter, innit? I can't get away from the fact that Graham Potter's left. Just slowly getting over that. But no, I am happy on, like, if you base it on his CV, I'm not gonna lie to you and say, yeah, I watched every game he's ever managed, or I've never really seen the guy manage, so I can't sort of speak from first-hand experience. But if you just look at his CV on paper, he looks like a very, very good manager. Like what he did at Sassuolo, 2 8th place finishes in a row. Very, very admirable with that Sassuolo resources, the players he had, etc. Playing really good football, sort of free-flowing attacking football. And then obviously his time at Shakhtar, won a league title, won a cup as well. Only one season and had to leave because of the conflict going on out there. So yeah, if you look at his his CV, then it's second to none. And like I said, from what I've heard and what I've read, his style of play is very similar to Potter in terms of loves playing out the back, loves free-flowing attacking football, exciting football. So I mean, on paper, it looks great. He looks like a bit of a weirdo. I'm not going to lie. He looks a bit strange. But apart from that, in terms of his managerial CV, I'm excited. And also a big thing for me as well. Well, two big things actually. One was like the language barrier potentially being an issue. It's not. I've heard him like speak in interviews and stuff. He's got really good. Yeah, really, really good English, which is really great to see, because I was worried that language barrier might come into play, and how's he going to communicate with these players, and he's going to have to use a translator, etc., etc. Also with like media, not only your players, but in the media as well. That sometimes the media will jump on you if you can't speak English and stuff like that. So that's all a big thing. And then final thing, the timing of it all has been good as well, because obviously we had the Palace game postponed, so it's given him much more time now to settle in and actually get to training ground with the players. I think he met them all today, and then we won't play again until after the international break. So gives us a long enough time for him to embed and get his bearings, and hopefully get the boys playing the same football that we were.
Before I bring D in, there was a comment that came in from Chris earlier saying, I'll be interested to see Brighton's new manager, and if there'll be any change to their style of play. Personally, I wouldn't change a thing. Maz, do you think he can do that? Do you think he'll come in and not be able to change a thing? Like, it's not going to be the same, is it? Like,
no, it's definitely won't be. He's got his own philosophy. I think he's got his own ways of working. He's got his own, methods. So I don't think it's going to be the same as Graham Potter. Definitely not in the sense of, I think he's got a different system as well. He likes to play. So yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. I agree with the comment in terms of we should try and keep it because it's been working so far. But as we've all mentioned in this podcast so far, our good times aren't going to last. We're going to have a bad patch. It's just inevitable. We showed it last season. We had bad patches. I think we didn't win for like 2 months. So it's about how if we do that again, is he going to be able to turn, make sure he steadies the ship? Because ultimately Potter did. So, we're going to go through a bad patch. It's just going to see how he adapts to the Premier League, how he, his team selections, tactics, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how he does that. And I'm excited. I am excited for. It's a new era, so whether it's going to be a good era is going to be left to see. But we'll see soon enough.
We will. D, you're looking really worried, man.
I am so worried. I'm wondering how am I going to sleep at night. He won the Ukrainian league. Like they literally won the Ukrainian league with like that. That is it. They've brought in a brilliant manager. Look, Dad, you already know how I feel. I'm not worried one bit. I already know the finish. Maz just basically admitted it. The manager doesn't look confident in himself. He looks a bit. What do you say, Maz? I don't want to quote you wrong. Weird.
Yeah, he looks a bit weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that he's been
creepy. I think creepy. I think creepy is a better word. I think a better description.
Well, yeah. He'll fit in with the likes of Lewis Dunk at the club. But yeah. So yeah, look, I'm not worried one bit. I'll be honest, I've never heard of him. Two 8th place finishes.
But that's such terrible. That is the worst logic.
2 8th place finishes is
because D Palace is what they're excited about. He must be terrible.
No. If that's what they're excited about, 2 8th place finishes. And why did he quit? By the way, I don't know why you would leave that team to go and manage Shakhtar Donetsk, which is worrying in itself. I'll say February. Till then, a relegation zone, and then he gets sacked. I'll give it till then. But it might happen a bit earlier. I'm not too sure because we've got World Cup. You might get a bit lucky, but other than that, I'm not worried about
all I've heard D so far is just like he hasn't given one actual reason as to why.
One actual reason. Sure.
All I've heard is just one.
So your reason. Hold on. Your reason is. He sounds great because he won the league in Ukraine. With all due respect, the Ukrainian league, within the Ukrainian league with Shakhtar Donetsk, the best team in Ukraine, ain't much of a I'm pretty sure if you go there to manage, you win it as well with them. It's not something significant. All I'm seeing right now is a manager who finished 8th in Italy twice, left to go and manage Shakhtar Donetsk, which I don't know why you would do because I feel like that's a downgrade. And then after that, he's joined Brighton, which is another downgrade. I'm seeing the manager in his decline right now.
Sorry, can I just bring you back to the? You said earlier you were like, I haven't heard of him, so he can't be very good. So had you heard of Graham Potter before he came to England?
No. I haven't heard of Graham Potter before. I haven't heard of Graham Potter before. And
is he now the Chelsea
manager? I told you this before. There's not going to be 2-3 Graham Potters. There's only one Graham Potter, and he's done.
But people said that.
That's it.
People said that about the signings we let go. Everyone said, "How are you going to replace Cucurella? How are you going to replace Basuma?
No.
How are you going to replace this?"
That's Graham Potter.
Now we've done it.
That was Graham Potter. We will see these players now. We will see. Is Graham Potter getting the best out of these players? We will see these players now. They're talking about getting replaced under the Zebra or whatever his name is. We will see. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it is under them. All I'm saying, from what I've seen so far, all he does is smash bottles on the touchline, gets mad angry, and he'll be doing a load of them this season when you could see. So Jose
Mourinho, Antonio Conte don't show passion on the touchline.
I mean, please don't compare your manager to Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte.
I'm simply just showing people how flawed your logic is.
No, it's
outrageous. You have no basis.
Their managers there have won proper trophies. They've made a good career out of themselves. I don't know why he's smashing balls because he's not winning anything. He sounds like he's frustrated more than anything.
Final one from me. Patrick Vieira, he managed was it the MLS, was it? I think.
He managed in France as well with Nice, yep.
Oh, France. Okay, MLS. Yeah, nice. MLS.
And he's a Premier League legend. Like,
the Premier League. Okay, that's great. That's what you need.
Patrick Vieira is bigger than Brighton Football Club. But our manager is bigger than our manager and our best player is bigger than your whole football club.
Can I just say, sorry, lads. The next game in the Premier League is Leicester City versus Nottingham Forest. It's going to be called the Set Piece Derby. Get yourselves there. It's going to be amazing.
The Set Piece Derby. Oh, no.
Because it could end up 5-5 and there'll be 10 free kicks. I'm telling you.
Look, I'll end it with this. When Maz was talking about him, he had no confidence. Speaking about him. I could tell by his body language, the way he's speaking. Like, you don't even believe in your own manager. It's fine. None of us do. So we'll move on. Brighton are back.
I think these generally, if someone put onto this podcast simply to be a troll and like someone control, like some sad Crystal Palace fan at home controls D and presses certain buttons.
I'm not even trolling. I
think you are a troll. I genuinely think you are. There's no way you believe 98% of the stuff you say. There's no way.
Okay, hold on. Okay, that's
no way.
Him winning the Ukrainian league is not enough for me to be scared. Are you? Who's going to be scared?
Why do you keep using that logic though? I don't get it. I don't get where that comes into it though. So all this time it's Sassuolo and the other stuff that doesn't matter anymore. Is that just
other stuff? Hold up, he's managing like the Serie D and stuff. What am I going to be talking about? Him managing like the fourth tier of Italian football?
No, he manages. Talk about that? He manages Serie A, and then he went to Sassuolo for 2 seasons, and then he went to Shakhtar, and he's been successful at every club. I don't get your logic. I don't get where you're.
Yeah. Well, if he's Brighton up, he'll be successful once again.
It's facts, though. I'm not saying no. Let's be clear.
Dan, before we move on, Maz, what's your expectation for the season now?
Okay, yeah.
Under him.
I was just about to say. I'm not deluded like you. I'm very happy to I appreciate who we are, what we are, where we've come from, and like genuinely, all joking aside, I'm not saying he's going to come in and absolutely smash it. We're going to go and qualify for Europe. I'm a realist. I get it. He could easily, like you said, he could easily become sacked in February, March. Like it could easily go wrong, and his experience might not live up to what we as Brighton fans might have the expectations. However, I feel like his CV and the style of football, etc., speaks for itself in terms of where he's gone. He's been very successful, whether it be in the bloody Serie B or Shakhtar or wherever he's been. He's been good. He's had a lot of good plaudits for that. And so I feel like you can't just write the guy off. I'm not saying he's going to come in and win the league, but at the same time, I don't think.
Okay, Maz, let me ask you this then.
Go on,
Maz. Let me ask you this then. Right? Do you feel? Are you confident that you'll finish above Palace this season?
There's no point answering that one because we all know it's going to happen. So, yeah, I definitely think we'll finish above Palace.
You think you stand by that? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think we'll finish above Palace. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I think we'll finish mid-table. I reckon, roughly mid-table.
So where's Palace finish? Hold on. Where are we finishing? Let's just clarify this.
We'll finish 10th, and you'll finish 12th or 13th or something like that.
You'll finish your 10th, Fairs.
Yeah.
I can't wait to face you lot. I can't wait, honestly.
This is how sad it is. This is how sad it is that we live rent free in your head that you're most look forward to.
No. Because
whereas we look forward to playing. We look forward to playing the big teams, like Man City and Liverpool and Chelsea.
We can admit, yeah, right. As Palace fans, it was different under Graham Potter. Like he was actually a very good manager, and we didn't fear Brighton at any point, but we knew we was going for a difficult game. But after him leaving, like I just cannot wait for. I just can't wait for you guys to play because you don't see you think I just have this hate towards Brighton. I genuinely feel like you're bang average side, and Graham Potter just made you so good. We talk about, for example, like other teams and their managers that's having a massive impact. Graham Potter leaving and this guy coming in. It's gonna change your team back to where it was 3 years ago, and that's what I'm saying. And that's gonna be between 12th to 15th. You're not gonna finish higher. You're just gonna be ordering Brighton. No one's gonna care about Brighton anymore. It's done.
I mean, no one cares about Palace as it is.
I think more people care about Palace than they do with Brighton. I think Palace got more skillful players than Brighton. I mean, who would you rather watch? Trossard or likes of Elise, Zaha, or Mark Gahey, a player that's going to the World Cup, or Lewis Dunk, who is career's finished? I mean, Palace have more exciting players than Brighton.
Career's finished.
Yeah. You half chat some shit, don't you? You chat some absolute mince.
Nah. Exactly. There's lots of players there, man. But with Brighton, there's some unknown.
We need to change.
You think they're in trouble?
Handle. We need to change it to DBHAFC, I think.
Not even because I'm exposed to Brighton. I'm exposed to Brighton for what it is.
You think Brighton will be bottom half D?
Yeah. That's not what I think. I'm so confident. Like Brighton bottom half. I don't know where they might be 11th or 12th. They might have like a still successful season, 11th, 12th. But I think bottom half is guaranteed at this point. People act like it's easy for him to come in and he plays possession football, attacking football, and I get that is similar to Graham Potter, but to replicate a manager and his style and his tactics, you just can't be a Graham Potter. So, and I don't see how you can do better than Graham Potter with this Brighton side, because Brighton created a lot of chances under Potter and their downfall was not finishing them. So I don't know how he could be better than this. So for me, Brighton are just automatically dropping down that level because I don't think Potter can be matched. And it's going to be bottom half, but I don't know where it will be. It might be 10th. They might still have a successful season. But for me, I'm going the likes of 13, 14. I just don't see this manager coming in and replicating.
This is genuinely the last thing I'll say about it. And this is like all joking aside. Well, you mentioned about how you don't think like Zerbi can come in and progress the team from Potter, but let's not forget Potter wasn't like he didn't qualify for Champions League. He finished ninth place with Brighton. Like, no. Look, I'm putting my hands up. I'm saying he's a fantastic man. He's a great manager, and he achieved some great things with us as a club. Got some fantastic results. There's no doubt about it. But he wasn't bloody Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola. Like, you're talking as if he's like the best thing since sliced bread. He's still got his.
But he is for you guys. He's for you guys. I don't. Okay, cool. Look, Dan, you're here as evidence as well. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. You need to clip these moments up. Because Maz, Potter's done wonders for you guys to be fourth right now and get some of these results. It's like you're living in the moment. You haven't realized. Like, cool.
No.
I get he hasn't finished.
No, I get it. I get it.
Champions League, but he's played excellent football, and at times you've been very, very unlucky not to win games, and you should finish much higher than you have under Graham Potter. And I can admit that. I don't understand. Unless you bring in quality players, I don't know with this group of players how you can do better than Graham Potter. I truly don't.
But we don't. We're going into the unknown, though. This is the thing with the Zerbi. We don't know. This is the unknown. This is why football's beautiful. He can literally come in and take us to Europe Conference League, or he can get us relegated. That's the beauty of football. That's why we love it. And I'm not saying the Zerbi's going to absolutely transform us and be better than Potter. I'm not saying that at all. But we don't know. He's the unknown. But he has proven at Sassuolo, for example, to get them 8th. Back to back, that is very impressive. That's a similar sort of thing to what Potter was doing just in the Italian league. Like, I just don't get what you're saying.
Can I ask you a question, Maz? Can I ask you a question? When Graham came into the Amex, was the expectation on Graham when he came into the Amex greater or less than it is on Roberto De Zerbi? Because when Graham went there, Maz, from my distance here in the Midlands. When Graham went to Brighton, my guess would have been that the Brighton fans, based on what he did at Swansea, which actually Steve Cooper massively improved on, right? When Graham went to Brighton, my guess is that a lot of the Brighton faithful have been, well, not that excited about this. 100%. So is it what Brighton have proved, and I'm talking as an independent, can I first say, I didn't realise how much of a rivalry Palace and Brighton was, so thank you for that, gentlemen.
It's nothing for me. It's from me.
It's mad.
But the thing is, what Brighton, it seems to me, have done, and I'll say exactly the same about Crystal Palace. So I'm going to unify you two by saying Crystal Palace have made some excellent recruitment decisions in terms of management and players, and Brighton and Hove Albion have done exactly the same, which is why the pair of you are now nicely established, consolidated football clubs that, to me, are a blueprint for Nottingham Forest, and for Fulham and for Bournemouth. We want to emulate what you lads have done. But like, it seems to me that De Zerbi has come in and probably the expectation is around about the same as it was when Graham came in. So, from that point of view, he's not got a welter of pressure upon him,
No, well, I'd actually slightly disagree just in the sense of, I think, because of our current standing, and I agree with D, like living in the moment kind of thing, because of the hype and how well we're doing at the moment, I think that does sort of affect us a little bit in terms of we might have, a little bit of expectation in terms of him taking us to the next level. I think so. Like me personally, I don't want to put too much pressure on him because, like I said, it probably won't help. But I think there is a small part of our fan base which does think he will take us to the next level. And what that next level is, who knows? I think there is definitely a small percentage of fans that do think that. But I think that's just natural, though, right? Like in the position we're in right now, you want to see your team. If we're fourth in the Premier League now, we don't want to be bloody relegation zone. That's just natural as any football fan. But you're right in terms of the comparisons of when Potter first came in. Yeah, when he first came in, we were a bit like, okay, done bits at Ostersunds, didn't do amazingly well at Swansea. We're a bit like, okay, cool, let's see what he can do. And then obviously he's been incredible. Like, he was incredible after that. So fingers crossed. It's the same with Zerbi. He comes in as a bit of a like, unknown quantity. Will he do well? Will he won't he do well? And then hopefully he can emulate or even go above, transcend what Potter's done. But yeah, we'll see.
Fair play, man. Listen, before we wrap up, I want to ask Emilio and Ash, thoughts on this signing from Brighton in terms of management. I'm not sure that any of us know too much about him. I think people would say that they would be lying if they say they followed him in the last few years. But looking at his CV, do you think Brighton have made a good appointment, Emilio?
So I know a little bit of him when he played at Napoli, my team in Italy, about 10, 12 years ago. So again, got a bit of a combative style of football. So I think he'll bring probably a little bit more fight in this Brighton team. I think Brighton team play under parts of very elegant, stylish, probably lacked, like I said, we know they lacked goals. And I think sometimes maybe more conservative than he needed to be at times. So I think he will probably bring a bit more aggression, a bit more fight. That may result in the spine of that defence slightly being eroded. So you might concede more goals. But I don't think Potter scored enough goals with that team. I think I agree with D. If you had a better striker, and maybe that's not his fault, but the fact is Brighton didn't have an out-and-out striker scoring 10 to 15 goals. You could have hit European place last season, but you didn't score enough goals. You didn't convert those 0-0s or draws into wins. This guy, I think, has been unpredictable. He's taken a couple of teams down from Serie A in their first season. I'm a little bit sitting on the fence. I'm a lot of Brighton fans I know, and I want Brighton to do well because my wife is from that part of the world, so they're like a second team to me. But I'm not inspired, I'll be honest with you, Max. I think it's a little bit there's an unknown quantity there in this level. He's hot. It can be hot-headed. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Probably a bad thing, to be honest, I think. But you probably haven't got enough players in this. For me, the worry is that you said about Fulham not having a squad. I think Brighton have got lack of depth in the squad as well. And you start picking up a few injuries, and you'll be safe. Let's be clear. You'll be grounded like me. Mid-table, you're being realistic, and I think you will get mid-table, possibly 9th or 10th. But are you going to push on under this manager? I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm not too sure. I think you need more strikers, and with his aggression and his physical presence, you might see a different philosophy to Brighton compared to what you used to under Potter.
Yeah, no, Emilio, D, that's how you break down and actually articulate yourself. Emilio just articulated himself brilliantly there.
I've been saying about your squad as well, though.
You were just
isn't that good, and I think Graham Potter has overachieved with these group of players, and these group of players have looked much better under Graham Potter because that's a credit to how good of a manager he was. When you look at this Brighton squad and move away the manager and look at some of these individual players, they're not that good. I don't think they're that good to push on for even a European spot. I feel like when you look at the likes of Trossard and you look at even the likes of Lewis Dunk is a good professional, but he's not a top 6 or top 8 worthy of a defender. And I feel like Graham Potter has just done wonders from the first player to the last player in terms of getting the best out of them. And if you're asking this manager to do the same, first of all, if he does the same, that would be incredible. But that's a very hard thing to do.
The only thing I'd say is take away the top 6, 7 teams, the genuine top 6, 7 teams in this division. The other 13 teams are all good enough or bad enough to beat each other. So I think we've beaten Brighton, we've beaten Forest, we've beaten Brentford. We'll probably end up losing to Leicester City because they're bottom doesn't mean they
beat West Ham.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? For me, it's all about teams beating each other. I think there's 12 places up for grabs in this division. I think who's the worst 3 of that 12? That's
crazy, isn't it?
That's the honest reality, to be honest.
No, it's crazy when you put it like that.
It is like that. And I think it's just because we've started off well, we can end up losing to a bottom team, whether it's Leicester, West Ham, or Forest, wherever it may be. But we can go ahead and we might beat Arsenal on a good day. It's so unpredictable. And for me, I'd expect Brighton to slightly drop off where they are. Palace, I'm being a neutral. I think Palace have flattered to deceive so far, too many draws, so something has to change there. Leicester, you're going to get Ash a better run, a new manager, new impetus, more confidence. You'll push up the table. Dave, again, you win the next couple of games, you're back in mid-table. So it's a crazy league, to be honest. It's crazy. So
absolutely perfect, Emilio. That's a brilliant summary, really, of where us 5, but not Dan, of where we are. And I think
it's hard on the top, man. It's hard at the top of the table. I tell you this.
Don't worry, you'll join us soon, Dan.
You'll be part of the show rather than the host soon. Don't worry about it, man.
Oh, mate, listen. If that happens, I will not host. I'll just sit there quietly.
By the way, just quick shout out to Jean-René and Shooty. I think I've said it right. He knows what he's talking about. So yeah.
What we saying?
Lallana. We're talking about Danny Welbeck and Lallana in 2022.
No. Okay, let's take Lallana out. Take Lallana out. Pascal Gross, fantastic. Caicedo, fantastic. Trossard, fantastic. And all you think about is like one player. You keep talking about Lewis Dunk all the time.
Eric Lamptey.
Yeah, all he talks about Lewis Dunk.
You know what? You know another positive. We talk about starting strong, right? If you're a new manager coming into a new league, ideally you want to start strong. Pending train tracks, Brighton have Liverpool.
Yeah,
and then they've got Tottenham, and then they've got Brentford, they've got Forest, they've got City, and they've got Chelsea. So in their first 6 games, they already got Tottenham, Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. And then Brentford's not easy, and Forest as well. Oh. They're going to have more games under the belts. So the positive from a Palace fan looking into this is that does not look like a good start. And if he does not have a good start, and we're talking about the first 6 games, it could easily, the morale.
You are obsessed, man. You are obsessed.
It's mad.
You are obsessed with Brighton.
I'm not obsessed. I'm just saying, if he does not have a good start, it could go horribly wrong in terms of people's going to start asking questions.
I disagree though, because we're not expected to beat those teams. We're not expected to beat Man City. We're not expected to beat
but then
Chelsea
the squad you're not expected to beat them, but the squad morale would naturally, after the manager leaving, and you got a manager who's known for his temper. If he starts losing his games and starts losing his head, the squad morale will naturally come down. It will. So I think it's a hard start for him. I think this, of course, the first 6 games is the first few games is going to be massive for them. It could go either way. I think, of course, if he wins them games, that would be massively positive. But then it's going to be very hard, isn't it? Like, no one really expects anyone on this panel to beat, even apart from Dan and Arsenal. But we shouldn't be facing the likes of Liverpool in your first game, regardless of how bad they're doing, or Tottenham. If you can get 1 or 2 bad results there, then there's going to be like more pressure going into like the Brentford game. It's not the easiest start for him, but if you can get positive results from that, then I'll be more convinced. I'm right now, look, Maz, jokes aside, I know how you feel, because we had the same with Vieira about when he first came in. There was questions of, before we even saw him play and see him manage, he's going to get sacked first. We don't know what he's done. Is he good enough for the Premier League? So I know how you're feeling. I'm more as a Palace fan looking into this and hoping that doesn't work. And this type of football and possession and the attacking football, it all sounds great. He has done well so far. But I need to see it to believe it. And for me, it might be too much to ask for based on expectation, because you guys have expectations right now. Not just from Brighton fans, just from the league overall. You're sitting 4th. The neutrals or casuals who won't watch Brighton will be like, oh, they dropped from 4th to 10th. Oh, he's not a good manager. So I think the expectations and matching them is going to be quite difficult, where that's where he might struggle, in all honesty. But we'll see. I'm hoping that doesn't work out anyways.
We'll see. Right, to close, just for Bants, I'm going to come to each of you. I want you to tell me where you're going to finish in the league, your prediction. And we'll do this, like a few times. So, get used to this question, boys. Might as well start with D, seeing he's got some chest out today. What are you going for, bro? Palace, where are you finishing?
It's hard. We've got a month for football. I don't know what to expect from this Palace side. I think I'm going to go with 10th. Somewhere like 10th, 11th. 10th, 11th. 10th. You can do better than that, though. Yeah.
You're going 10th. Maz?
10th. I'll go 11th.
Okay. Fair. Okay. And you think Palace will come 12th?
Yeah, 12th, 13th, something around that. Okay. They've got 6 points so far?
6 points. We face, just put into context. Look.
Why are you getting defensive?
No. I'm just putting the context.
Listen, we got to get around everyone, bro. We haven't got time for this. We haven't got time for this. Come on. We got to wrap up the show, man.
When we're talking about Forest and their signings, I like Dave to put context into it, because context is very important. we've got 6 points so far. We played Newcastle, which we was not good at against them. They should have beaten us. But we've had one of the hardest starts in the league. So far, we've faced the likes of Arsenal, we've faced Liverpool, we've faced Man City. We've also faced Villa. And who else we faced in terms of big team? There was another big team that we faced. I can't remember. But we've had a difficult start. And plus, we didn't have a proper preseason, which this month off right now, because we are not playing football for a month, it's going to help us. So, yeah, we've got more winnable games coming up.
We go 10th, 11th. Dave, where you going, Forest?
17th.
Yes, like it.
17th by the width of a pubic hair, right? And the thing is, right, on everything I've seen so far, the table doesn't lie. We are the second weakest team in the division, right? And such is the perverse nature of football that, you think, well, you've lost to Fulham, you've lost to Bournemouth, then you've no chance. But such is like I say, perverse is the word, the bizarre nature of football and life, that when I came out the City Ground on Friday night and I was surrounded by people saying, we've gone already. And I said to one bloke, what, with 8 months left and 31 games? You're a decent supporter, aren't you? Thank you very much for your confidence and your faith. Right. These people who basically, I think a lot of our fans want a 5-0 win every week, whoever we're playing. And the point is, context is absolutely everything. Everything. So I got interviewed on another YouTube channel by a lad you should all watch, actually, a guy called Match Day with Max, who does really good Forest stuff. And he goes, he was quite angry when he did the interview. And I said, I'm going to stick my neck out and say we'll stay up. And he goes, what do you base that on? Nothing. I just think we'll stay up. So I am. Any hand that offers me 17th on the last day, like Villa did, like Leeds did, like I think Brighton went through some sufferings to stay up. All of these teams, all of our teams. So Dee's team, Maz's team, Ash, when you came back up, Emilio, you've already had lots of suffering to go up and down. We're going to have to suffer through that. But I think, and you lads could probably come back in May, on May the 30th, and say, Dave, you were talking through that rather large backside of yours. I think we'll stay up, and I think we'll finish 17th.
Good lad. I love the optimism. Emilio, what are you going with Fulham?
Look, it's we've had a tough start as well, D. This season we've played Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham. So my expectation was before the season started to finish 17th minimum. Stay up. I don't care how we stay up. I don't care if we stay up last game of the season. I want to stay up at this level. I still believe we can get 13th to 14th. Realistic. I'm being realistic here. I think we will. Depth of squad, injuries may kick in at some point, but we're so far so good. I'm loving the football we're playing. We're capable of beating solid teams. Brighton were unbeaten when we played them, and I thought we deserved that win. Brentford, arrogant after their 4-0 thumping of Man United, came to Craven Cottage, Ivan Toney, we shut him up basically. And so, as far as I'm concerned, I think we've got a lot of room for optimism. But let's be realistic. I think if we get 13th to 14th, well chuffed, and we build on for next season. We keep pushing on. That's realistic, I think, in my opinion.
Fair play, man. 13 for 14 would be an amazing season in my eyes for Fulham. That'd be superb. Ash, sorry to leave you to last, man. What are you going for? Let's start.
I'm going to be glass half full. I'm going to say 14th, and that for me, I would buy anybody's hand off for 14th.
Just to know you're safe.
Just to know we're safe, and I just like some of you guys have touched on today. There needs to be a rebuild, which is going to take some time. There's some players that evidently need to go, want to go. And if we stay up and get a new manager in and we can rebuild for next season, I'd be pleased as punch.
Fair play, man. Listen, boys, been fun. Been a pleasure, as always. Thanks so much for watching. Smash the like on your way out, guys. Subscribe to everybody's channels. They're all in the description and also, of course, in the social handles as well. We're going to see you next week. Stay tuned for something special. We're going to do something rather special. None of these guys know about it yet, but they will do very, very soon. They're going to be individually spoken to, and we're going to sort something out, which will be very, very fun.
Are you kicking off
so-
D off the? Are you kicking D out? I think that's what it is. Though,
Listen, Maz, if I get rid of D, he's got to come onto my show with the Race to Europe. Do you know what I mean? So what one do you want?
I see what you're doing. You're making us suffer, so you don't have to.
Danny, you're going to swap D and Lawless? Because I watched Lawless
Oh,
earlier,
that's what's going to
and
happen.
he's a legend, mate.
Lawless
we're
is
gonna have
absolutely
Lawless here
hilarious.
soon. I've called this. I called it last week, didn't I? I told you about Everton, West Ham. They're in trouble, man. I love Lawless, but yeah, I don't see West Ham coming out of it nicely. They might win 1 or 2 games, but it's not going to be well.
I can only deal with Lawless on one channel. I can't put him on both.
This would be chaos.
This would be having Lawless, Maz, and D. Oh my days, that would never end. It'd be about 4 hours long, man. It really would. Anyway, guys, always a pleasure. Smash the like on the way out. We'll see you next time. Take care, and as always, up the Arsenal.
See you later, guys.